Hello everybody, it's Rob here with a tutorial. How are you? Hope you're alright. I haven't done one for ages and ages. And this one I thought I would combine just about everything I love. So I'll be using the GoPro 3 Black Plus or Black 3 Plus or Hero 3 Black Plus, whatever it is. It's the latest GoPro. I'll be using Lightroom 5 and I'll be using Photoshop CC. What I'm going to create is a time lapse, but with some movement effects like it's panning, and I will show you another example of some panning and zooming in as well, all created in Photoshop. But the first thing I would like to do is import all the photos, and I'm not going to do it all now, but I will show you the kind of route that I take. It may be not the only route or the perfect route, but it's the one I use. So let's take a look. So I'm going to go into Lightroom, and here I have all the photos open. I've already edited them, and I will show you just like a before and after. So I'll go into the develop module, and like I said, using Lightroom 5, which is awesome. So this is what it was like before. Obviously it's got the GoPro distortion, and I've just clicked on down here in the develop module, in the lens correction, and it's got the GoPro lens profile here. So I've just clicked on that and altered the color a little bit, and exposure, and this is what I've got. And so I'm using the first photo for the editing, and then I've selected all and synchronized the effects to all the other photos. And if you don't know how to do that, let me just show you very quickly. So if you have a look, I'll just show you so you can see in the library, maybe you can see it better. So I'm going to select all, Control or Command and A, and it lights up all the bottom ones here, selects them all here, and I've clicked on sync. Let's have a look. So this one should be, it's because I've already done it, I think, and I've clicked on all the ones here. You can check all or check none. I've just checked all, and then I'm synchronized. I'm not going to do it again, but that's how you select them all and put the effects to every other photo. Very quick and simple. And the other thing to be aware of when you're doing it this way using Lightroom and Photoshop is that when you import your photos, you're importing them onto your computer through Lightroom. And so when you go into Photoshop, the photos that you may use are the ones without the edits on. So unless you import them through Lightroom, you won't have any corrections on or edits. So the way I do it is I've created at the bottom here in the library module and the published services, I've created a folder called Lightroom Photos, which is onto my hard drive. So once I've saved this, and I've put them all in my Lightroom Photos folder, there will be a folder on my desktop called Lightroom Photos, and in here are all the photos with the Lightroom edits. So it's quite an important step, that, so don't miss that out. And you'll need that when you're bringing them into Photoshop. So let's go into Photoshop. So here's one I've already done. Let me just shut this one down. So here's Photoshop CC with the timeline at the bottom. And now you want to bring in your photos. So we're going to use Control and O or Command and O, and then you're going to navigate to your folder. As I said, mine's on my desktop, so in the desktop here I'm going to go down to Lightroom Photos, and all my photos will be here. And when you open up the photos like this, all you need to do is click on the first one and then go down and check the box image sequence, and Photoshop will know which ones to bring in. So then go to open, and then it will give you the option of the frame rate. I'm going to leave it on 30 frames per second, and click OK. And this will open up the photos. If you're not familiar with a time lapse, obviously you're taking a sequence of photos over so many given minutes. I don't really calculate anything, I just take a few photos, and for this example I've taken about 500 images. So if you don't see this timeline box on your Photoshop, then go into Window and go down to Timeline and select that, and then you will see it. So let's just bring this down out of the way so you can see. There we go, it's just brought that down. Okay, so this is where it can get a little bit complicated, but the way I do it is not really that hard. So I haven't worked out, basically the images that come from the GoPro or any camera at a certain resolution, depending on what you set it to. Now with the GoPro, it takes pictures up to a maximum resolution of 12 million pixels. For a time lapse, you don't need it at the highest quality, so I've brought them down to about 7 million pixels. So that will give me an image size roughly of 3000 pixels by 2000, as you can see here, something like that. But what we're going to do, we're going to change this in order so we can get the effect that we want, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to change this, the current size here, you see it up here. The new size is going to be like high definition, so 1920 by 1080, and make sure the relative box here is unchecked, and you can anchor it to any position you want. I'm just going to leave it anchored at the center like so, and I'm going to click OK, and you will get this message to say it's smaller than current, etc, etc. Some clipping will occur. Let's click proceed, and that is changed the size. So let's just zoom in again, but that's alright. So here now, if we press V on the keyboard, we can move it round to where we want. As you can see, the image has changed, the canvas has changed size, but the image of the information is still the same. So we can position this somewhere roughly where we want it, but you will see why that doesn't really matter at the moment. So the first thing we're going to do in the layers palette over here, we're going to right click on the layer, and we're going to change this to a smart object, just as you would with a normal photo. Now this is brought in is like a movie because we opened up the image sequence, if you remember. So Photoshop was treating this like a video. So if we right click on the layer and right click that and change it to a smart object, and this timeline down here will go to a purple color, and this will give you extra options. If we click on this play button type icon here, it will give you some options. At the moment, as default, it says no motion, and we're going to click on it and go down to pan. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to change this to 180 degrees from right to left, and we're going to press enter or return. Now this has changed the photo, as you can see, but now we can position it. I'm going to hold down shift, and I'm going to position it higher up, just so we can see more of this image here. And that's it. That's basically it. All the editing we done was in Lightroom. So I'm just gonna show you what the next step would be. I'm just gonna bring up this timeline here, and I'm gonna click on this arrow here, down here, which if you hold it and it will click, get the option to render the video. So I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna give it a title, timeline, or time lapse even. God, I can't talk now. Time lapse test. I've selected this to be saved to my desktop, as you can see there, and I've left everything else the same. You can just double check everything. Document size 1920 by 1080 as we changed it. 30 frames per second, and these are all the frames, 0 to 501, and I'm going to click on render. So this will take a while, so I will pause the recording and come back when this is finished. And so now we've finished. I'm going to go to my desktop, so I'm going to minimize this, and this is the kind of result you can get. So as you can see, we've got the time lapse. It's panning from right to left, or it's going to the right, if you see what I mean. Let's just take another look. Obviously you've got the birds flying round. I didn't stop and edit the frames, which you can do if you like. So that's one option. Another option, if we just pause that and shut this down, is another video I've already done. Let's click on this, and this time I've added the zoom option, so I've changed the option to zoom out, and this is the result. So I think it looks really good. Everything's done from a GoPro. I've edited all the images in Lightroom and then brought them into Photoshop, and that's it. I hope you like it. My name's Rob. Take care, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.